For 456 yards against them yesterday. Pat, what happened to your beloved Colts?
It was just ugly. I mean, we got a couple turnovers early, but Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers were able to answer. Even with Evans hitting a hammy there, it's a big-time loss, especially in this wild card race with other AFC teams getting a win. Good for the Buccaneers finding a little success, but for the Colts, they just aren't winning games right now, even though they put up a bunch of points yesterday.
6-7, they may have fallen hopelessly out of it. Rex, Steelers get a clean game from Duck Hodges, and they pick off Kyler Murray 3 times in a win at Arizona. How is Pittsburgh doing this?
Mike Tomlin, I mean, this is coach of the year. They got no business. They have no receivers. They got no quarterback, 4th-string quarterback, no running back. By the way, Duck, though, is pretty decent. But their defense is playing lights out. And by the way, can I say, can we schedule Arizona every week? What happened to this great offense?
Whoa.
Oh, you mean I was right about something else again? Oh, and I was right about Joe Hayden dominating too. Hello, my goodness. Just listen to me, you'll be all right.
Next, the Titans and that man, Derrick Henry, are awfully tough. They beat the Raiders 42-21. They're 8-5. Pat McAfee, are the Titans the most dangerous team in the AFC?
I think right now they got the Texans 2 times in the last 3 weeks with Derrick Henry running the rock on a contract here with no renegotiations happening. He's number 3 in the NFL right now. He's massive. He gets going. And Tannehill has gotten out from underneath Gase, and he's really flourishing underneath the mustache Vrabel. This team is legit, and they're very hot right now.
What he said. And then that brings us to the Texans, who yesterday were taking on Drew Lock and the Broncos. And you figure that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Well, think again. Broncos, early, Lock, Noah Fant, touchdown. Fant would finish with 4 catches, 113 yards. Broncos up 7-0, and they were just getting started. Deshaun, this is not a good moment. We got a fumble. We got a lateral. We got a touchdown. Kareem Jackson. Incredibly, no one blew a whistle. No one stopped the play.
Good ref.
Imagine that.
Before the Broncos could actually score a touchdown, and it's 14-0. And then the route was just on. Rex, I mean, the Broncos just killed them yesterday.
Yeah, it's amazing. But, hey, these are humans over there, man. I mean, Houston just flat out laid an egg. This happens. You have a big, huge game. Look, I see it. You know, I remember we beat the Patriots in the playoffs, go out, we're down 21-0 against Pittsburgh. It's hard to explain, but days like this happen.
Drew Lock threw for 309 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first career road win. And so the Texans are now just their 1-game lead over the Titans is gone. Houston still holds first place in the South because of a better division record. Right now, Tennessee is out of the playoff picture. But as you mentioned a moment ago, Pat McAfee, those 2 teams, the Texans and Titans, play each other 2 more times in the last 3 weeks. So it'll be decided there. And is there anyone at this table who doesn't think the Titans are going to wind up winning that division?
Well, for me, I think there's 2 key statistics to look at. I did a little query with Hembo earlier.
Nice work.
Thank you so much. I like to do the stats. The Texans are last in 3rd down defense in the league and 31 in red zone defense, okay? The Titans with Tannehill, 1st in the red zone, 7th on 3rd down. Those are 2 key things to look at for this Titans-Texans matchup. And also, one of them is going to get the other wild card spot for the Bills. So if you're in the AFC, you've got to get a lot of wins. But right now, with that run game, with the defense, and with the special teams punter for the Titans, I think these things are leading to a very prosperous last couple weeks for the Titans. Out of nowhere, by the way. Nobody was talking about the Titans outside of Nashville. And I think right now they're getting very hot, and they're going to be a tough team to stop.
Yeah, I can tell you this. They better not make the playoffs, because if they do, this is the type of team that can make some huge noise in the playoffs. And they can compete against anybody. When you can run the football and play defense the way they can. Pat, you mentioned how Tannehill, number 1 in the league in red zone. Well, what's that? That's situational football. That's how you win games in the playoffs. And they're doing it about as good as anybody in the league. Maybe better than anybody in the league right now.
They're the hottest team, or as hot as practically any team in the league, at least outside of Baltimore. And Rex, they obviously are a team in the image that you love. Now, Deshaun Watson and the Texans, what a crazy kind of week this is, because last week they beat New England. That's obviously a huge statement kind of win. And then they come out in this game. They were so far behind before the game even began.
Well, I think the interesting thing is everybody plays Madden, and they get these video games where they have these ratings like, okay, this guy's 95, this guy's 94. And in video games, that's every single day of your life. But whenever you're an actual human out there, you can experience those emotions. You can go up and down. That Patriots win, although they'll talk about, hey, it was just another game and things like that, was massive in that locker room. To get back up for a Denver Broncos team led by Drew Lock could be difficult for some guys. And they might have thought, you know what, we'll turn it on in the 3rd quarter. We'll turn it on in the 4th quarter. They were never able to do that. Now they're sitting in a real position where they have to win out because the Titans are hot. on the trail.
And there's no guarantee that the loser of that race winds up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With the Steelers continuing to win and Buffalo looking as good as they do. So that could be win and you're in, lose and you're out entirely. And I can't believe I'm saying this about a team that has Deshaun Watson, but I think most of the big boys would probably rather play the Texans than play the Titans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why? Because they can play defense. I mean, you can run the football and play defense.
Derrick Henry is 6'12", 700 pounds, and he runs a 4.5
over at this time of year.
And he's running for a check too. They haven't renegotiated his contract. They're starting to feed him. Tannehill can get the ball out, and that defense plays good. Vrabes and that mustache are really doing something special. For
one thing the Texans do well is every single week their linebackers show up in uniform,
I agree,
in costume, which I like. And yesterday they were the average Joes from the team, a movie.
That's
dodgeball.
who they look like.
Well, what it looked like is they dodged, dipped, ducked, and dodged every chance of a tackle that they could get against the Denver Broncos. And I think Patches O'Houlihan, who drinks his own urine, would be upset with what they did, but that costume was magical for sure.
And that's not even a reference to the movie. You're the best. Thank you very much. Lauren, pick it up.
Yeah, no costumes here for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as they host the Redskins. And near the end of the first quarter is where we pick it up. How about that one to Robert Tonyan?
Really good job by Rodgers, just holding that safety, finding Tonyan down the seam, and just the tempo of the ball, beautiful.
Same score, and here's Dwayne Haskins getting sacked by Preston Smith.
The Packers pass rush got healthy a little bit yesterday against this Washington Redskins offensive line, but I was really impressed with Dwayne Haskins' toughness hanging in this football game.
Yeah, got his ankles rolled up there. 58 seconds left in the second quarter. Packers in the red zone, and Rodgers taken down by Ryan Anderson.
Well, end of the half, Rodgers trying to make a play. Nice job by Anderson swiping at that football.
Middle of the fourth, all the way back there, and here you see Rodgers making it to Aaron Jones. He's been so crucial for this team.
That's a sick throw by Rodgers. Up over that dropping corner before that safety to a tailback. Insane throw.
Packers win, and Rodgers says he doesn't care if it's not pretty.
I would guess there's not many people who expect us to be in this position, so we're going to enjoy it. I'm going to have my fair share of scotch tonight and feel good about being 10-3. We're finding different ways to win. It might be ugly at times to maybe some folks, but I wouldn't mind winning ugly all the way to the Super Bowl.
All right, so he's talking about winning ugly, and I get it. He's not going to sit there and say, hey, we're not going to make it to the Super Bowl, but does Aaron Rodgers, Marcus, really think that the Packers are going to the Super Bowl?
He better think it because he's a quarterback, but they're not. They're not going. Have we watched the NFC? Did we just watch the Saints and the 49ers play? Those are the two best teams on that side of the NFC. You can't struggle against those two teams. You can't play an ugly game. You have to play one of your best games to win this game. And look, the whole definition of yesterday when we watched the 49ers and the Saints was if we need to put points on the board, we can, which everybody thought about the 49ers and Jimmy G. If they needed to do that, that's where their trouble spot would be. Well, it ain't there. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings as well, who has shown the propensity to be very good at times this year. We had the whole conversation about Kirk Cousins. He's playing well. You talk about Dalvin Cook. Fourth? Are they fourth in the NFC? Fourth or fifth best team now when you look at it?
I think Aaron Rodgers is lying. He's not okay winning ugly.
No.
Like, this is a guy. I mean, Rodgers has been in the conversation for the greatest quarterback ever.
Right.
No, he's got an expectation and a standard level of performance. So he's not going to be okay with, like, yeah, we're winning ugly. He wants to play well and go win the Super Bowl. And so they're also not going to win against those teams that Marcus referenced in ugly football games. They're not going to beat the 49ers, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Vikings playing ugly football. The biggest issue for this team right now, for this offense, they're terrible on third down. They average, listen to this, their average third down is 3rd and 8. This is a 10-3 football team that on third down has to go get 8 yards on average. That's not going to beat good football teams here in the back half of this December run and into the playoffs. So I don't think if they don't have a play-action pass game, their drop-back pass game is not very good, which is shocking to say, but I think we're seeing the lack of people outside of Devontae Adams.
Yeah, it is interesting, too, because a lot of people wondered about LaFleur and what this offense would look like. Marcus, they don't have an identity.
Yeah, and initially at the beginning of the season, there was one. It was Aaron Jones.
Right.
And he was the feature of what they wanted to do. Even in the passing game, they used him a lot. I thought they got away from that a bit. We talked about the receivers being limited, obviously injury to Devontae. But when you look at this going forward, forward, like the Green Bay Packers, at this point, we're comparing, just like we talk about in college all the time, Laura. Now we're getting to games that matter against good teams. That's what you judge by. We ain't judging a 10-3 record. We judging you by how you going to play against the Saints, the 49ers, and all those NFC opponents.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Aaron Jones is getting enough credit either. All right, our Week 14 Monday Night Football matchup is a virtual must-win for the Eagles as they trail the Cowboys by a game in the NFC East. Philadelphia hosting Saquon Barkley and the Giants. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. Tune into that. And we've got so much more coming up on Get Up. He came close, but Tom Brady not able to pull off the comeback. We'll tell you why the Pats offense is a huge problem with no solution in sight. That's